What would you do if you discovered your wife was living a double life, just feet away from your marital home with another man? The glowing screen of my phone at 2 a.m., illuminating a text message I was never meant to see, felt like a physical blow. It wasn't from my wife Sarah, but to her, from a number I didn't recognize, detailing plans for tonight in the guest house. My heart didn't just sink. It shattered, sending icy shards through my veins. For months, I'd dismissed the late-night whispers, the faint laughter, the subtle scent of a different cologne clinging to her clothes. I'd told myself it was stress, my imagination, anything but the truth. But that text, stark and undeniable, confirmed the sickening reality. My wife, the woman I loved, was not just cheating, but doing it under my very roof, in the guest house I'd built with my own hands for her parents. The world tilted, and I felt a primal scream building in my chest, threatening to tear me apart. I knew in that moment my life would never be the same, and neither would hers. The next morning, I watched Sarah leave for her yoga class with a smile that felt like a knife twisting in my gut. She kissed me goodbye, her lips tasting of deceit. I went to work, but my mind was a battlefield. Humiliation burned hotter than any anger. How could I have been so blind? So trusting. The guest house, a symbol of our hospitality, had become a den of betrayal. I remembered the subtle changes, her sudden interest in gardening around the guest house, the locked door I'd attributed to her wanting privacy for her meditation, the way she'd flinch if I walked too close to its windows. Each memory now clicked into place, forming a grotesque mosaic of lies. I started noticing everything. Her phone, once left carelessly on the counter, was now always clutched in her hand or face down. Her explanations for late nights grew increasingly vague, peppered with details that didn't quite add up. One evening, I forgot my wallet and returned home early. As I pulled into the driveway, I saw a car I didn't recognize. A sleek black Mercedes parked discreetly behind the guest house. My blood ran cold. I walked in, feigning surprise, and Sarah, flustered, emerged from the guest house, claiming she was just tidying up. The Mercedes sped off as soon as she saw me. She was a terrible liar, but I was a worse fool. The slow discovery was agonizing. I found a receipt for 2 expensive dinners at the Gilded Spoon in downtown Dallas, a place she'd told me she went with her girlfriend. I checked her phone records, a number she frequently called, always late at night, always when I was asleep. Cross-referenced it with the Mercedes license plate I'd discreetly noted. It belonged to Mark Jensen, a new client at her real estate firm, smug, handsome, and utterly devoid of morals, from what I could gather. Sarah became colder, more manipulative. She'd pick fights over trivial things, creating distance, making me feel like the problem. "You're always so suspicious, John," she'd sneer, her eyes devoid of the warmth I once knew. "Maybe you're just insecure." She made me doubt my own sanity, gaslighting me until I felt like I was drowning in a sea of self-blame. Mark, the affair partner, even had the audacity to show up at a company picnic, his arm casually around Sarah, a smirk playing on his lips as he met my gaze. They felt untouchable, flaunting their affair with a brazenness that made my stomach churn. I broke down, truly broke down one night in my garage. The weight of the betrayal, the humiliation, the sheer audacity of it all, crushed me.
Ow.
I cried until there were no tears left, until my throat was raw and my body ached. But from that brokenness, something hard and cold began to form. It wasn't just anger, it was a resolve, a chilling determination to make them pay. I would dismantle her life, piece by agonizing piece. My revenge began subtly. I started gathering proof meticulously. I installed hidden cameras in the guest house, disguised as smoke detectors. The footage was damning. Sarah and Mark, laughing, touching, living out their sordid fantasy in the space meant for family. I hired a private investigator, a quiet man named Frank, who documented their rendezvous at the Grand Hyatt in Chicago, their stolen weekends in Miami. I collected bank statements, phone records, anything that painted a clear picture of their deception. I consulted with a divorce attorney, a sharp woman named Ms. Davies, who specialized in high-asset cases. She listened patiently, her expression grim, as I laid out the evidence. "We'll hit her where it hurts, John," she promised, "financially and socially." I set legal and social traps. I subtly shifted assets, ensuring my financial future was secure, while making it appear as though Sarah was still a beneficiary. I leaked anonymous tips to local gossip blogs about a prominent real estate agent having an affair with a married client. Planting seeds of doubt and suspicion, I arranged for a surprise anniversary party, inviting all our mutual friends, her family, and even some of her colleagues. The stage was set. The public exposure was brutal. At the anniversary party, held at the Metropolitan Club in New York, I stood up to give a toast. The room was filled with smiling faces, Sarah beaming beside me, oblivious. I raised my glass, my voice steady. To Sarah, my wife, who has taught me so much about loyalty, honesty, and the true meaning of commitment. A pause. And to Mark Jensen, who has also taught me a great deal about those very same things. Particularly in our guest house, while I was at work daily. The room fell silent. I then played a curated montage of the hidden camera footage on the large screen, the images of Sarah and Mark, undeniable, sickeningly clear, flashing for all to see. Her face drained of color, her jaw dropping, as gasps filled the room. Her parents looked on in horror, her colleagues in disgust. The legal papers, served right there by Ms. Davies, were the final nail. Sarah was completely ruined, her career imploded, clients abandoning her, her reputation in tatters. Her family disowned her, disgusted by the public spectacle. The divorce settlement, based on the irrefutable evidence of her infidelity and financial misconduct, left her with almost nothing. Mark Jensen, facing a lawsuit from his own wife and a ruined career, vanished from the city. I saw Sarah once more months later, working as a cashier in a small grocery store on a quiet street in Los Angeles, her eyes hollow, her once vibrant spirit utterly extinguished. She didn't see me. I drove away, the setting sun casting long shadows over the city, leaving her to the quiet, haunting echo of her choices. The end.